If you are under the age of 18 and you are watching this video, please stop now. This content is not intended for you. Hey everybody, it's Tmika. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're staying indoors, staying healthy, keeping yourself occupied. If you are like me, I have to venture out. I work every day still, and that's because I work in a healthcare field where everybody's coming to. So I cannot work from home. I have to go out. So I have been making a bunch of masks for myself. My husband still has to go out. He's in wellness. So I've been making a bunch of masks for my family and things like that. I've been posting them on Instagram. So many of you have asked for a tutorial. This is super easy, and I'm pretty sure by the time this video is uploaded, YouTube will be flooded with these tutorials. So I'm hoping to bring a little bit of a different angle, things that you can do using supplies at home or the Dollar Tree. The Dollar Tree is a store that's still open. A lot of times you can't find elastic, number one. 1/4-inch elastic is sold out at Hobby Lobby, Joann's, plus their curbside is closed, so you can't get to that. So you can't get any fabric. So I've chosen items that you can get from the Dollar Tree to make your mask in case you have to do those quick in and out errands to get life essentials. So if you're interested in how I put these together, these will be easy and expensive. So let me show you the things that we're going to use. So here's some fabric. This fabric is found at the Dollar Tree. It is 20 by 21 inches, and you don't need that much. You can probably get 2 masks out of both of the each one if you want. So these are $1. They have a couple different colors there. There's also some felt. So these masks are not like what is the respiratory mask, N95. These are not the hospital grade masks that you have to use. These are for if you're going out to a Walmart or wherever you're going to get something real quick, the gas station, to protect yourself from surrounding coughs and breaths. You know, you have to stay 6 feet away. So you can use felt. You can find felt at the Dollar Tree. I wanted to, since my mask is going to be gray and black, the only felt that they had on hand was red and green, and I didn't want it to bleed through. So I knew that I had felt because I craft. I knew I had felt at home. So if you don't have this, Michael's do have them for 39¢, but again, I don't know if they're open. So check your stash to see if you have felt. You can use that as a medium. Now you can do some of my masks I've done. They didn't want the lining in them. So like this one I'm making for a friend of the family, and I added vinyl, which I'll do here today too because I have it. I might as well add it. So he doesn't want the thick lining. He just wanted the 2 pieces of material. He's not going to be in and out much, and he said that he doesn't want heavy stuff on his face. So I made this one out of just the 2 pieces, like 2 of these pieces. But if you want something a little more sturdier, a little more protective, then you could use felt. You can also use lightweight interfacing too, which is I had on hand because I do sew as well. So also, if you don't have any elastic, you can use the journaling elastic that we use, like for a traveler's notebook if you have to. But Dollar Tree has 6 headbands. This is a good idea. It's a little bit, they're a little bit tight. I can fit this around my whole head. Obviously, this is how much it stretches, but I'm going to break them apart and use 2 per mask. So that way they stretch a little bit more, and it's not so much tension on the head, because if you have to wear it for any length of time, I don't know, I'm sensitive with tension, so I wanted to just do 2. So I get 3 headbands out of here. You got your fabric. They have pins and safety pins at the Dollar Tree, so you can use that. For my mask, I've dug in my stash. I'm going to use this gray as my lining fabric, but again, you can just use these 3 items and be done, all from the Dollar Tree. So less than $1, because you know, 1, 2, you can make a bunch of masks out of each of those. And then also I'm going to, as soon as I find my little, here it is, I'm going to add a little vinyl to mine because I have it, and this vinyl I get from Arteza. So I'll put a link down below to where you can find this if you want some. But that's what I'm going to put on this mask here. So I also, in the description box, will put the link to the PDF that I found on Pinterest where you can cut these out. I like this one because it's size for man lining, man mane. It's size for women, teens, and young children, like 4 to 6 young kids too. It's free, so I'll put that down below in the description box. So you would print out your PDF. I did print out the PDF for the woman and cut it out and sewed it and use it for mine. It's a little smaller than I like. I like the full coverage more so I'm cutting the man out for mine. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. All right, I'm just laying this fabric down, some leftover fabric from when I made Kyla some pajamas. I'm laying this fabric down to protect my surface from the iron when I'll be ironing on here. So you will have to use a sewing machine. I've seen some people use this with hot glue. I mean, if you're running in and out, hot glue, I mean, it'll be okay too. You can also hand sew. It's not a lot of stitching, just a very, very small amount. So I'm going to go ahead and use my little home iron to go ahead and straighten this fabric out really quick. All right, so I've ironed my 2 pieces of fabric. So the main fabric, the fabric that you're going to see on the outside, you want to go ahead and pin that. And then again, like I said, you can make a bunch of these. So if you're doing all black, this is just 1 piece. So if you're doing just black on the front, black on the back, just like I did this one, you see, let's see how many you can make. You need 1. You can get probably 1. We flip this way. 2. Yeah, you can get 2 masks out of here. You're gonna have leftover fabric, but yep, you can squeeze 2 masks out of this for your $1. So I'm gonna cut binds on the end, and all you want to do, I know that if you are a seamstress, well, if you're a seamstress, you already know what to do. You probably won't even watch this video, but this is super simple. So you want to go ahead and use your pins to hold your fabric down. Otherwise, this little slip of paper here gets away. And I really just use 3 little pins on each of the corners. And I grab my little baby scissors. Now, my baby scissors, they're little, but they pack a nice little punch. These buddies cut. So, yeah, you want to go ahead and as close to your PDF as possible, cut around your fabric. So I'm going to do that for this one, and then I'm going to grab my lining fabric and cut it out for this piece, and I'll be back. All right, so I've cut my 2 pieces out in my lining fabric, and of course there's 2 layers. I'm not sure if I mentioned that or not, but I just folded it over and cut out 2 layers of the lining, 2 layers of the front fabric. And now with the felt, I've already done it because I'm just so used to doing it. I'm like, oh, I didn't come back and record that. So you want to take your felt, you want to take your lining fabric, okay, and I'm going to use this pink one here. You want to take your lining fabric, fold over your felt, so you have a corner, a fold over part, and on that part, I traced it. So I'm just going to trace this onto my felt. Now I'm just doing this Sharpie so you guys can see. You can pin it and cut around it and then cut smaller if you want. So that's the outline of the lining, and you want to do it on the lining one, the shorter one. And then you want to allow a bit, that's about 1/4 of an inch, to cut shorter. So you can fold over it and put on the inside of the mask if you want more, you know, if you want a little bit more protection. If you're skipping this part, then obviously skip this part. So it should be one whole Batman piece. Okay, really quick, guys, I wanted to, as I'm editing this, I realized I didn't explain the felt part right, so I'm going to intercept real quick and say this about the felt. So if you're going to do the felt lining, remember this was like the Batman piece. It was all sewn in one piece. So what you want to do is fold it over so that it matches exactly, and then you want to take your scissors and just cut it in half. This was the fold line. You just want to cut that right in half so you can get 2 pieces, and you're going to do the same exact thing that you do with the lining and the main fabric. Line it up together just like the rest of them that you'll see here, and you want to sew this as well. So all 3 pieces you're going to do the same thing, and then you'll have your you know, you'll have the inside of your lining like you would the rest of the fabric. So I figured that I better come on and just mention that just in case anyone would get confused. So let's get back to regularly scheduled programming. So what we're going to do now is sew these all together. So this is how it comes. You want to put, you can't tell on mine because I'm using solid color. You want to put right sides together. In this case, it doesn't matter, but I'm going to put them just like that. So if you have right sides mean the pretty side. Pretty sides. You want the pretty sides to face. So like this one. These are that's pretty. That's the back. So I'm going to flip it so that the pretty sides face each other. And then I'm going to grab some pins and I'm going to line them up and pin them together so that they are lined up and they stay, because we're going to stitch the side really quickly here. It's not going to take long, and I'm only adding a few pins because you won't need that much. All right, and then you do the same thing for your lining fabric. You'll line them up the best way you can. This is really easy, guys. Do not be intimidated. If you have that sewing machine in the attic, or that sewing machine you got for Christmas that's still in the box, pull it out, hunty. This is the time. All right. So what we're going to do now is, on this curve part, we're going to sew down 1/4 of an inch. That's like the edge of this paper, leaving a little bit of leeway. So I have my sewing machine right here. Probably won't be able to see, and I'll probably fast forward this so you don't have to hear it. But of course, you want to go ahead and do a back stitch at the top, and then just continue to sew until you get to the end. All right, so I don't know if anybody else does this, but I clean up as I go along all these little extra strings. You know, when you back stitched, I don't know, it's a little bit OCD in me that I just don't like to wait to the end to do it. I want to do it right then and there. So I clean up all my little extra strands, and this is what you should have. I'll show you on here since I'm using the black thread, right? So you've sewn just along that curve, and that's what your mask should be, nice and tight, right? Okay, what you want to do now is open it up, and if you're like me, I like to press my seams. So you can skip this step if you're just at home, you know, just using them for the quick corner store. But I like to press my seams down a little bit so that it just be a little bit neater. So I'm going to do that. Open this up, and then on the back, pick a side. Do the same for both. And okay, so both of my seams are pressed down. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to put, normally if you're not using your extra felt, or if you're not using any interfacing or anything to stabilize or add more protection, you're just going to skip this next step, and you're going to just put these right sides together just like so. So that means pretty facing, touching pretty facing. Line up at the tip of the seam first. All right, and then add a pin in there to hold it. And make sure you bring this lining up so that it matches the top curve all the way around. And then add your pins all the way to the end. There will be a little bit of a gap on the end left over, and that's for your seam allowance. And you want to do that for both the left and the right side. Okay, so this is what that should look like. And then you're just going to stitch right across. But if you are adding the extra piece right before we do that, and I'm going to flip it over to the back, and I'm going to take my felt piece and I'm going to attach that top to top. So that's just going to match at the top. Line it up as best you can. And then you're going to take your lining piece, and that's going to go face to face. So flip it over. That's going to go in the front. So you have the lining, which is pretty side, to the pretty side of the front of the fabric. And then on the back, you have your felt. All right. So I hope you got it. So what you should see in front of you is the back side of your lining. And then you're going to pin, be careful, and pin all 3 of these together. Just make sure they're all lined up as best you can, and pin them all together. All right, we're going to sew a stitch right here. We're going to leave this whole part out on both sides. We're going to sew a stitch right here, and then we'll come back and then we'll sew a stitch at the bottom. All right, and we're going to go ahead and clean all of these up because that's just how I roll. All right, so now we want to make sure that these are lined up at the bottom. Now this part, what is this? The felt may not reach the bottom. I wouldn't stretch it. If you can make it reach, yes, but remember we made it shorter so that it wouldn't be super thick. So it may catch it, but chances are it won't, but that's fine because you've already attached it at the top. So what you want to do is go ahead and line them up as evenly as you can. Add a few pins and stitch across, again at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So we're going to stitch right across this line, leaving these flaps out. All right, so this is what you should have so far. It's like so. And then now we're going to go ahead and open the pocket up, not with the felt or the lining, so it's in between the two. So we're going to separate the lining from the front, the main, and we're going to push this all the way through like you're turning it inside out. All right. So you want to go ahead and if you have a bone folder, this will work. Stick your bone folder in there and just kind of go across everything and make sure that it's poked all the way out. Nothing, you know, is left in, especially this top part where the nose goes, and just kind of follow that along. Now you can top stitch if you want to be extra. I did. I think it adds a little bit of an extra, and that, I mean, look, just a little bit extra. Just top stitch right across here. So I'm going to do that and I'll be back. All right, so I've top stitched across. Just adds a nice little finishing, just a nice little finishing touch. All right, nice padded mask we have here, nice solid mask. So you'll notice at the end there's these little flaps here. So if you want, you can go ahead and you can finger press these. They should be folded over the same length of the seam allowance, so that should be about a 1/4 inch or so, and or you can run the iron over them real quick to make them more defined. And then you want to fold over a pinch just a little bit, and then fold over once more like so, and then add a pin and stitch across here. So right now I'm going to clean up this little, because I accidentally cut it when I cut off my ends to my lining. So you want to go ahead and fold one time and then fold over just a little bit to just clean up that edge. Gonna add a little pin, and then I'm going to stitch right here, just on the outside right there. All right, this is what you should have so far. Really, really clean, and I've top stitched the bottom across and the top, of course. So now let's get to the elastics. And again, you feel free to use any elastic you have. The point of this video is to use inexpensive items or items you have on hand. So like I said, this can fit across my whole head with no problem. I am sensitive, so what we're going to do is cut off where they connect at. There's like this little plastic piece. They must have fused it together with some kind of plastic. You're going to cut that off, right? And we're going to do that to both of them on either side. Just cut off those little pieces, and then we're going to sew them together. So this could be a little bit tricky, but you just can use a zigzag stitch. All I'm going to do is overlap them just a smidge, literally, just like that. And then you just, where they connect, you just want to run your sewing machine back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then we're going to thread it through. So I'm going to do that. All right, that's done, and I'm just going to clean up the edges by just cutting off the parts that didn't stitch together. Now I've seen Dollar Tree has shoestrings, So if you don't want to do any sewing, you can just thread through some shoestrings and call it a day too. So, or you could just cut this in half once if you're okay with using, you know, to stretch your headband to supplies, just cutting the headband one time and using it instead of connecting two together. So you put a safety pin on the end. I get my safety pins again from the Dollar Tree. They come in a pack of 1,000, I swear. And you want to push it through the right side and filter that elastic through. Takes a little patience. Should come through to the other side easily. And you want to pull that through all the way until you get to the end. And you will come across the piece where you've connected it. That's going to try to give you a little bit of resistance, but it'll fit right through. All right, and you want to take it through to the top of the other side and do the same thing. Filter this through till you get to the bottom. All right, once you get through to the other side, now I cut mine's ribbon, my elastic down, all the elastic that I've been using for adults. I've cut it down to about 24 inches. But since my elastic has been short, I just fit this on the person. I put my safety pin together. I tell the person to try it on, because how they're going to try it on and how they're going to put it on is this is going to go over, oh, come back on camera. It's going to go over their entire head. This piece is going to fit at the bottom of their neck, and this piece is going to fit like across the crown of their head. So once you fit it, you know, attach it to them, see where it's comfortable for them, then put the safety pin there, come back and overlap them again and do the stitch to seal everything up. Now, if you just are making these and you're giving them to family, 24 inches. Measure it out, 24 inches. Leave a little bit extra so you can attach them together with a zigzag stitch, and you're done. So I know what mine is, so I'm going to go ahead and attach my ends. All right, so my mask is done. It is finished. You guys can leave it as this. If you want to go ahead and give it a nice little press, you can. So, and what I'm going to do is go the extra step and add some little vinyl to it. I have my little vinyl here. Hope you can see it says Be Fierce. And oh my gosh, my iron is having a fit. So I am just going to line it up. Now I then drop this on my craft room floor, which is like the worst thing. So it has like paper and lint on it, but hopefully the parts that stick don't have them on there. So I'm just going to eyeball kind of where I want it to go and put it on there. Go ahead and peel it off. That looks awesome. Then I'm going to line this one up where I want it to go, right about there. Lay that right on top. While that's doing that, this is the vinyl that I'm using, this heat transfer vinyl in these beautiful colors. So again, I will put these down below. So it doesn't take long, so that should be good. It is hot though. So you want to go ahead, ooh, that's hot, and peel it up. All right, I'm gonna let that cool for a second. There we have it, guys. A really nice, neat mask, lined everything. It's nice and, you know, thick where you can get some good protection out here in a time where we need it. So again, this is just using Dollar Tree headbands and a Dollar Tree fabric, Dollar Tree pens, safety pins. Of course, you'll need you can get scissors, all that comes from the Dollar Tree. You'll need your pattern and a sewing machine. These are the only items that you'll need. You may not even need a sewing machine. You can hand stitch this, which you can also find needle and thread there as well. So all of the items you can get to make this mask is found at the Dollar Tree, and you can make multiple. So you can make 2 masks out of this, and then again 3 masks out of that. So very inexpensive. The total cost of this mask, if you add everything up with the quantity, is less than $1. All right, guys, I hope you like this video. A little something different. Let me know what you think and leave a comment down below. What are you doing to help slow down the spread of the thing? I don't want to mention in the video because I don't want to get flagged, but you guys know what it is. Leave that comment down below. Talk to you soon. Bye.